Bueller. I love that. All right, I'm Edward Pivos for MLive. I'm not Ferris Bueller, but that would have been great to be in that movie. But I'm here with the Ferris Bueller car. It's not a Ferrari, but it was like in the movie it was a Ferrari, but that was just too expensive. But we're here at the Henry Ford in Dearborn. Where else would we have this car? It's just now on display. It's going to be here for 6 months. We're going to show you everything you need to know about this car. Matt Anderson, curator of transportation, is going to join us. So here we are. Let's get a close-up. We're going to talk to Matt Anderson about this epic movie vehicle. So this was, where's Matt? Oh, you're behind me. This was one of the cars that was actually used in the movie, right?
Yeah, this is one of 3 different vehicles they had. This is what they call the hero car that was used in all the long shots that showed the whole vehicle. They also had a partially assembled version they would use to mount cameras on for the inside shots. And then, of course, a shell used for the famous scene.
Okay. So come on up here. Now, this is going to be here. Oh, I want to get the back license plate here. So this is going to be here for 6 months, right? This is like where did this come from? And, you know,
Yeah, this is a part of Hagerty's National Historic Vehicle Register. Every year they select 4 or 5 significant automobiles that played a role in American history, whether it's on the racetrack or maybe they're groundbreaking in terms of design or construction, or perhaps they lit up the silver screen like this car here.
All right, so if you're not familiar with Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I don't know how somebody isn't, but if you're not, it was a movie from 1986, and this car was a big part of the movie. It was Cameron's dad's Ferrari, although it's not a Ferrari. It's going to say 1985 Modena Spider, correct?
That's correct. These were replicas that were sold to folks who wanted the look of a Ferrari but couldn't afford the several $100,000 price tag at that time. And of course, they've only gone up from then.
Yeah. So it even says Ferrari on the back there. I mean, they really went all out to make this a replica Ferrari. Look at that.
They did. In fact, they got into some legal trouble a little later in the 80s over this, but I believe it was all eventually settled.
That's funny. So you can actually go to Cameron's house, by the way. It's in a suburb of Illinois. And the last time I was there a few years ago, by the way, Matt, they had one of these cars. It may have been this one. I don't know. But they had, because there's multiple of these, in the garage, because people rent out the garage of Cameron's house, and you can kind of party in there. So it's kind of cool. They actually had one of the cars. You could see it in the distance, and I took a picture and everything, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, so the house, it's in a suburb of Chicago. But you can see the car right here, if you're just joining us, at the Henry Ford in Dearborn. It's here for 6 months. 1985 Modena Spider. It says Ferrari. Look at that. So again, yeah, if you're not familiar with Ferris Bueller, you've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? Many times, I'm sure.
Many times, yes. Yeah. It's a hallmark for us late Gen Xers, one of the big movies, yeah.
So in the movie, Cameron and Ferris and his girlfriend took it out for a spin. It was Cameron's dad's car, and they, when they went to valet it, right, the valet guys took it out for a spin and put a lot of miles on it. And when Ferris, he had an epic idea to roll back the speedometer miles by propping the car up and gunning it in reverse. And, it went through the glass, and they destroyed one of the cars. But this obviously is not one of the cars they destroyed, because they had multiple cars for the movie, right?
They did, yeah. They had 3 different cars. This is what they would call the hero car, used for all the kind of long shots where you see the whole vehicle. They had a special effects car where they could mount cameras on, where you get the real tight shots of the 3 of them driving around. And then, of course, they had the non-running shell, which was used for the destruction scene.
Okay. So that's what's cool. So listen, there's a lot of cars here at the Henry Ford, but this is kind of unusual because you don't get a lot of movie props, right?
Yeah, we've never really collected pop culture cars, so this fits really well with what we're doing. And of course, as we said, this movie is a touchstone for anyone who grew up in the 1980s, all those John Hughes films.
Yeah, very cool. Let's just, I guess, look at it. So again, it's a 1985 Modena Spider. Which car was it a replica of? A 60-something Ferrari? Do you know? I can't remember.
It's a 1962 Ferrari 250 California Spider GT, and a very hot car designed by Ferrari for the American market. The original would have had a V12 engine, probably capable of something like 250 horsepower. This actually has a Ford V8, which is a little less than that, maybe about 140 horsepower, perhaps a little more.
Wow. Say the car again, because that was a lot of words.
Yes.
196. What is it?
It's 1962 Ferrari California Spider GT, more or less, 250 GT California Spider. A lot of words.
All right. Well, listen, when you're the curator of
Transportation
here at the Henry Ford, you know your cars. So that was pretty impressive. All right. Well, anything else you want people to know? It's just kind of cool to look at this. Look how shiny that is. I wonder how many miles that thing has on it. Do you know? Have you checked the speedometer?
I know that it's driven and loved by the current owner, so and I don't know if he's tried to roll back the odometer. One would hope
funny.
not. But
So it is on loan from, again, where it's part of a traveling, or say again, talked about it at the beginning. We have new viewers joining.
yeah, it's courtesy Haggerty's Driver Foundation, and they
Okay.
sponsor the National Historic Vehicle Register, which is essentially a national register for significant cars and trucks.
Okay, very cool. All right. Anything else you want people to know about the car that I might not have asked? Or, I mean, we pretty much talked about it, but it's just fun to look at.
Yeah, what I love about this car is it's very much like an actor. It's playing the role of a Ferrari in the movie, so it fits well.
That's well said. All right, Matt Anderson, curator of transportation here at the Henry Ford. Thank you for telling us about the vehicle, and you can hear the excitement in your voice too when you talk about it. I love it, and you can see it in person right here at the Henry Ford in Dearborn. It went on display yesterday. It's going to be here for 6 months. It's very cool. I mean, literally, you can get right up close to it. I mean, you can't touch it, but that's the whole point. But you can get, I mean, I'm within 2 feet of it. Pretty cool. Used in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So there's a screen photo from the movie. Same exact vehicle. Look at that. 1985 Modena Spider replica of a Ferrari from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So again, you can see this at the Henry Ford in Dearborn. 6 months. What is 6 months from now? What's the end date? We are... What is the date today? August
February,
20 some, so it'll be here till February-ish. Okay. And if you haven't been to the Henry Ford in Dearborn, don't know why. It's a fantastic, you got historic trains. We're in the historic train. So that's where it's at, by the way, the location, all the way back by historic trains, which are epic in themselves. I mean, every time I come here, especially kids, you can get on some of these trains, and these are some of these from the 1800s, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got some stuff from the 19th century, the early 20th century, and yeah, you can climb into the cab of the Allegheny, which is the single largest artifact we have in the museum.
Wow. Yeah, it's just awesome. And not to mention, obviously, a history of vehicles here. There's so much to see at the Henry Ford. If you haven't been here, the bus that Rosa Parks refused to give her seat up on. A history of presidential limos, including the actual car that John F. Kennedy Jr. was assassinated in. You have the actual chair that Abraham Lincoln was sitting on when he was assassinated. That's just one of many epic historical artifacts here at the Henry Ford. And now, the car from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So very cool. So thank you guys for watching. You can see this at the Henry Ford in Dearborn. This is one of the most epic museums, not only in Michigan, but in the entire country. People from all over the world come here, right, Melissa?
Yes, all international.
It's an international. All over the world people come here, and for good reason. So thank you guys for watching, and come check it out. The Ferris Bueller car here till February just went on display yesterday.